Admiral Bill Ford wiped sweat from his forehead as he looked at the big screen on the bridge of the USS Constellation. His old lined face looked even older in the blue light from the screens around him. On the main screen, he could see the enemy, ships coming closer. 17 huge alien warships in perfect order like a wall of death moving through space. "Sir, they want to talk to us again," said Lieutenant Susan Miller from her post. She pressed buttons on the glowing control panel. With quick, nervous movements, Ford nodded once. His face was hard as stone. "Let them speak." The screen changed to show the face of an alien. It was Commander Ixal of the Lorcan Empire. He looked like a large lizard with shiny scales and 4 yellow eyes set in a diamond shape on his face. Those eyes seemed to burn with hate as he stared at the human admiral. "Listen well, human," the alien's rough voice boomed across the bridge. "This is your last chance. The Lorcan Empire now owns this part of space. Your weak human colonies must obey us or we will destroy you all. Your puny ships are nothing compared to our great fleet." Ford's face showed nothing, but inside, anger burned hot. For 6 long months, humans had tried to make peace with these aliens. They had sent messages, offered trade deals, and tried to share the stars. But the Lorcans only wanted to rule. They had already destroyed 3 small human colony planets, killing millions. They thought that after such a show of power, humans would give up and bow down. They were very wrong about humans. "We have sent our answer to you, Commander Ixal," Ford said in a calm voice. The alien's face showed surprise and confusion. "We have received nothing from you." A small smile appeared on Ford's lips. "You will. Very soon." When the alien's face disappeared from the screen, Ford turned to his second-in-command, Commander Diane Clark. She was a tall woman with short gray hair and eyes that missed nothing. "Are our special ships ready?" Ford asked. Clark nodded, her voice firm and confident. "Yes, sir. All ships in position. Operation Hornet's Nest is ready when you give the word." Ford looked at the tactical screen showing the 17 massive, alien ships. They looked unbeatable, especially compared to the single human battlecruiser that floated alone in space. But what the aliens couldn't see was humanity's secret weapon. Hidden in the shadow of a nearby moon were 500 tiny warships. Each one was only a little bigger than a normal fighter plane. The alien scanners couldn't detect them because of their special stealth technology. These small ships were the result of human creativity when faced with an enemy who had bigger, more powerful ships. "Look at them," Ford said softly to Clark, as they watched the alien ships approach. "So confident, so sure of themselves. They think size is everything," Clark replied with a small smile. "They've never fought humans before." Ford nodded, remembering Earth's long history of warfare. Throughout human history, big armies with better weapons have lost to smaller forces with better plans. The British Empire against American rebels. Giant Russian forces against small Finnish units. History is full of examples. "And now the Lorcans against our Hornet swarm," Clark added. The bridge crew worked quietly at their stations. Everyone knew what was at stake. If their plan failed, more human worlds would burn. But there was no fear on their faces, only determination. Ford thought about the 500 brave men and women hiding in those tiny ships. Each one was piloted by Earth's best, people who had volunteered for this dangerous mission. They knew they might not come back, but they went anyway because that's what humans did when their homes were threatened. On the screen, the alien ships continued to move forward in their perfect formation. They still had no idea what was about to hit them. "Communications, send word to all colony worlds," Ford ordered. "Tell them to be ready for good news." He stood up straighter, his old shoulders squaring with pride as he gave the order that would change the course of the war. "Commence Operation Hornet's Nest." Throughout the fleet of hidden ships, pilots received the command. They started engines, checked weapons, and prepared to attack an enemy that had no idea they existed. The last message from Commander Ixal still hung in the air. "Your puny ships are nothing compared to our great fleet." Ford smiled again as the first reports came in of the tiny human ships moving into attack position. The Lorcans were about to learn an important lesson that many bullies throughout human history had learned too late. When you corner humans, when you threaten their homes and families, they don't surrender. They swarm. Like angry hornets defending their nest, 500 small warships powered up their engines and moved toward the unsuspecting alien fleet. The trap was set. The hunters were about to become the hunted. Captain Amy Ward's hands gripped the controls of her tiny warship tightly. Her ship, called Hornet 117, was small, only about as long as 3 big trucks lined up. Next to the alien ships that were each over half a mile long, her ship looked like a fly next to an elephant. But Amy knew that sometimes the smallest bugs had the worst stings. "All Hornet ships, move to your targets," she said into her radio. "Remember what we learned in training. These aliens think big ships always win. Today we show them they're wrong." The 500 small human ships moved toward the alien fleet. The aliens still couldn't see them on their scanners. Each small human ship had only 5 crew members. The ships were designed to attack the one weak spot human spies had found in the alien ships: their shield generators, which were spread out across their hulls instead of being in one protected place. "Captain, I've mapped the shield points on our target," said Frank Nelson, the weapons officer. His eyes were fixed on his screen as he searched for the right spots to hit. "I can see all the main power nodes now." Amy nodded. "Good work. Get the special weapons ready." The bridge of Hornet 117 was small and tight, but every inch of space was used well. Each crew member focused hard on their job. Betty Powell, the HFY engineer, watched over the special stealth systems that kept them hidden from alien scanners. John Reeves, the navigator, plotted their path through space. Peter Grant, the communications officer, kept in touch with all the other Hornet ships. "The alien fleet is still in their same battle formation," Reeves said. "They still don't know we're here." Amy smiled a little. "They're only watching the constellation. They think Admiral Ford is making empty threats." She remembered her last day of training, when Admiral Ford had spoken to all the Hornet crews. "In Earth's long history," he had told them, "smaller forces have defeated larger ones many times by using surprise, speed, and clever tactics. The American Revolution, the Winter War, Vietnam, Afghanistan. Now it's our turn to add to that list." The swarm of human ships came at the alien fleet from many different angles, using the moon's gravity to pick up speed. Amy looked at her screen one last time. 500 tiny human ships against 17 massive alien warships. By the numbers, it seemed crazy, hopeless. But Amy knew her history. Humans were very good at winning fights they weren't supposed to win. Her mind flashed back to her hometown in Iowa, the farm where she grew up. She remembered her father pointing to a hornet's nest in a tree. "Never mess with hornets, Amy," he had warned. "They might be small, but when they swarm together to protect their home, they're unstoppable." Now she was part of a different kind of swarm, protecting a different kind of home. "Attack Plan Delta," she ordered. "All weapons free. Let's go." The 500 ships split into 17 groups, each one targeting a specific alien ship. Hornet 117 led the attack on the biggest ship in the alien fleet, Commander Ixal's own vessel. "This is for New Washington," Amy said quietly, thinking of the human colony that had been destroyed last month. 3 million people gone in a day of alien bombardment. As her ship raced toward the massive alien flagship, Amy spoke to her crew. "Remember, we hit the shield nodes in sequence just like in the simulations. If we time it right, we can create a gap big enough for our boarding team." The distance closed rapidly. On her main screen, Amy could now see the enormous alien ship, growing larger by the second. Its hull was covered with strange patterns and what looked like giant weapon ports. Under normal battle plans, attacking such a vessel with her tiny ship would be suicide. But this wasn't a normal battle. "Stealth, system still holding," Betty reported from her station. "They won't see us until we're right on top of them." "Weapons charged and ready," Frank added. "Disruptor targeting locked on first shield node." Amy felt a strange calm settle over her as they approached the alien ship. Her whole life had led to this moment. As a child, she had dreamed of the stars. As a young pilot, she had trained relentlessly to be the best. And now, as a captain, she was about to help write a new chapter in human history. 30 seconds to firing range, John announced from the navigation console. Amy opened the channel to all the Hornets in her attack group. Group 1, this is Hornet 117. Remember what we're fighting for. Our homes, our families, our future. No matter what happens next, know that what we do here today matters. She could see other Hornets moving into position around the massive alien vessel. Like her ship, they were nearly invisible against the darkness of space. Tiny predators about to attack a much larger prey. 10 seconds to firing range, John said. Amy tightened her grip on the controls. Let's show these aliens how humans say, "Hello," she said as her ship shot forward toward the first shield node. The swarm attack had begun. Commander Ixel stood on the command deck of his mighty warship. Just moments ago, he had been planning how to destroy the lone human ship. Now, red warning lights flashed all around him as his crew shouted in panic. Hundreds of small human ships had appeared out of nowhere and were now attacking his fleet. "Impossible!" Ixal roared, his 4 yellow eyes blinking rapidly in anger and fear. His scaled skin changed color slightly as his heart rates increased. How could they hide so many ships from our sensors? His second-in-command, Officer Vex, worked frantically at the main control panel. The human ships are attacking our shield generators. They know exactly where to hit us. Ixal couldn't believe it. How had the humans discovered the weakness in Lorcan ship design? The shield generators were placed at different points around their ships. If someone hit them in the right order, they could make holes in the shields. But that was supposed to be a secret that only the highest Lorcan commanders knew about. Outside in space, the battle looked nothing like what Ixal had expected. Instead of the human battlecruiser firing its big weapons, hundreds of tiny ships darted around his fleet like angry insects. They moved too fast for the Lorcan targeting systems to lock onto them. Their weapons were small but precise, hitting exactly where they would do the most damage. "Status report now," Ixal demanded, slamming his clawed hand down on his command chair. 3 of our ships have lost their shields," Vex reported, his voice shaking. "And now the humans they're sending small teams to board our ships." Ixal couldn't believe his ears. That's crazy. No one boards a Lorcan warship. The internal defenses would kill them instantly. But the screens showing the inside of those 3 ships told a different story. Small teams of humans in armored suits were moving through the corridors of the Lorcan ships. They moved with speed and purpose as if they knew exactly where they were going. The Lorcan soldiers tried to stop them, but the humans were too quick, too well prepared. "The humans on the destroyer have reached the engine room," an officer called out. "They've shut down the main power core." One by one, Lorcan ships began to drift out of formation. Some lost power completely. Others fired their weapons wildly, unable to aim properly because their targeting systems had been compromised. Ixal had been a military commander for over 50 years. He had fought in 12 major space battles and had always won. The Lorcan Empire had conquered 6 other alien species, all of which had surrendered after seeing the might of the Lorcan fleet. But he had never seen anything like this. For the first time in his life, Ixal felt afraid. "Order all ships to regroup," he commanded, trying to keep his voice steady. "Focus all firepower on the human swarm ships." But even as he gave the order, he knew it was too late. His perfect battle formation had fallen apart. Each ship was now fighting alone against multiple human vessels. The carefully planned attack had turned into complete chaos. "Sir, we've lost contact with the destroyer and the Vengeance," an officer reported. "And the humans are targeting our ship now." Ixal turned to the main view screen. He could see several small human ships approaching his flagship. They moved with amazing speed and coordination, weaving through the defensive fire as if they knew exactly when and where his gunners would shoot. "Increase power to forward shields," Ixal ordered. "Prepare all weapons." "Sir, they're not attacking our front shields," another officer called out. "They're going for the rear shield generators." Ixal spun around just in time to see the tactical display showing 5 human microships diving toward the rear of his massive vessel. His gunners tried to target them, but the humans were moving too erratically, changing direction too quickly. "How are they doing this?" Vex asked, his voice barely a whisper. How can they fly like that? Ixal had no answer. The Lorcan autopilot systems were designed for efficiency and predictability, but these human pilots flew like they were part of their ships, making split-second decisions no computer could predict. The deck shuddered as the first human weapons hit their target. Alarms blared even louder. Rear shield generator 3 is damaged, an officer reported. Shield integrity at 70% and falling. On his personal screen, Ixal watched as one of the human microships broke away from the others. It dove straight toward a small opening in the shields that had appeared when the generator was damaged. The ship was on a direct course for the hull of Ixal's flagship. Target that ship, Ixal screamed, pointing at the screen. Destroy it now. Defensive weapons fired, but the human ship rolled and weaved, somehow avoiding every shot. Then, it disappeared from the screen as it reached the hull of Ixal's ship. Sir, Vex said, his voice trembling. They've breached our hull. Human boarding teams are inside the ship. Ixal stared at his second-in-command in shock. This couldn't be happening. His mighty flagship, pride of the Lorcan fleet, breached by a human ship no bigger than a shuttlecraft? It was unthinkable. Seal all bulkheads, he ordered. Send all security teams to defend the engine room and the bridge. But deep inside, Ixal knew the humans would not be stopped so easily. They had planned this attack too well, executed it too perfectly. Somehow these primitives from a backwater planet had done what no other species had ever managed. They had turned the mighty Lorcan fleet into a confused, disorganized mess. As he looked at the damage reports coming in from across his fleet, a terrible thought occurred to Ixal. The humans had never intended to match the Lorcans in size or power. They had found a different way to fight, one that the Lorcans had never prepared for. On the security screens, Ixal watched as the first human soldiers appeared in the corridors of his ship, moving with deadly purpose toward the heart of his vessel. The hunters had become the hunted. Sergeant Olivia Harper moved quickly through the dark hallway of the alien ship. Her special combat suit made her faster and stronger than normal. The 5 soldiers in her team followed close behind her, their weapons ready. "Which way now?" she asked quietly. Corporal Kyle Johnson checked the small map that glowed inside his helmet. 2 more turns, then down 1 level. The engine room should be there. Harper nodded. Her helmet covered her face, but her team knew she was smiling. So far, everything was going according to plan. When Captain Ward's small ship had knocked out the shield generator, Harper's team had attached their boarding pod directly to the alien ship's hull. They had cut through the metal skin of the ship with special tools and were now inside. Their mission was simple but important. Disable the engines and communication systems, then get out. They didn't need to destroy the alien ships. Making them unable to move or talk to each other would be enough to win this battle. Team Alpha, stay here and guard this position, Harper ordered. Team Beta with me. She had trained with these soldiers for 6 months. They had studied everything human spies had learned about the inside of Lorcan ships. They knew where to go, what to hit, and how to fight the alien defenders. As they moved deeper into the ship, Harper thought about her home on Earth. She had grown up in a small town in Colorado with mountains all around. When the aliens had destroyed the colony world of New Washington, her cousin Sam had been there. Now she was fighting not just for Earth, but for Sam's memory. Contact ahead, Johnson warned suddenly. Harper looked up and saw a group of Lorcan soldiers turning the corner in front of them. The aliens were tall, at least 8 feet, with natural armor on their bodies. They carried weapons that looked like glowing spears. Take cover, Harper shouted, diving behind a metal beam that stuck out from the wall. The hallway filled with light and noise as both sides opened fire. The aliens' weapons shot beams of energy that left smoking holes in the walls. Harper's team fired back, with their pulse rifles designed to penetrate Lorcan armor. The fight was quick but intense. The aliens were strong and brave, but they weren't used to fighting inside their own ships. Harper's team had trained for exactly this kind of close combat. Status? Harper asked when the firing stopped. Mitchell's suit took a hit, but it's still working, Johnson reported. Everyone else is fine. Harper nodded. Good. Move out. We need to reach the engine room before they can send more defenders. In her ear, She could hear reports from other human teams on different alien ships, all across the Lorcan fleet. Small groups of human soldiers were fighting their way to vital systems. It was working better than they had dared to hope. When they reached the engine control room, Harper wasn't surprised to find it already on alert. 4 Lorcan engineers were frantically working at control panels, trying to prepare for the human attack. 2 guards stood at the door. "Flash grenades," Harper ordered quietly. Johnson pulled 2 small devices from his belt and tossed them into the room. Harper closed her eyes just before they went off. Even through her closed eyelids, she could see the bright flash. When she opened her eyes and moved into the room, the aliens were stumbling around, temporarily blinded. "Secure the room," she ordered as her team rushed in. The aliens tried to fight back, but they were disoriented from the flash grenades. Within seconds, Harper's team had subdued them without killing anyone. "Jones, get to work," Harper said. Specialist Lisa Jones moved quickly to the main control panel. She was the team's tech expert. Back on Earth, she had been a computer engineer before joining the military. Now she pulled a small device from her pack, a special computer designed by Earth's best scientists to disrupt Lorcan technology without causing a dangerous explosion. "This will take about 2 minutes," Jones said as she connected the device to the alien control panel. Harper and the rest of the team secured the doors and set up defensive positions. They knew the aliens would try to retake this room. "Harper, to command," she said into her radio. "We've reached the engine room. Preparing to disable systems now." Admiral Ford's voice came back, calm and steady, despite the battle raging around his ship. "Good work, Sergeant. Your team is one of 6 that have reached their targets. Keep going." Harper felt a surge of pride. This plan had seemed crazy when they first proposed it. Many military leaders had wanted to build bigger ships to fight the Lorcans head-on, but Admiral Ford had pushed for this different approach, using human strengths like adaptability and small unit tactics rather than trying to match alien technology. "Almost done," Jones reported, her fingers moving quickly over the device. "The Lorcan systems are actually pretty simple once you understand the basic logic." Just then, they heard a loud banging on the doors. The aliens were trying to break through. "Hurry," Harper said. "Done," Jones announced. She pressed a final button on her device. All around them, the lights flickered. The steady hum of the engine, which they had felt through the floor since entering the ship, began to fade. The alien vessel was powering down. "Target neutralized," Harper confirmed over the radio. "Beginning extraction." Now came the hard part. Fighting their way back to their boarding pod. But as her team prepared to move out, Harper felt confident. They had proven that humans could stand up to the mighty Lorcan Empire. They had shown that sometimes being smaller and more nimble was better than being big and powerful. "Stay tight. Watch each other's backs," she told her team as they moved toward the door. "Let's go home." As they started their journey back through the alien ship, Harper thought about what they had accomplished today. The Lorcans had thought humans would be easy to conquer because they had bigger ships and more advanced weapons. They hadn't understood what any bully who picked on humans throughout history eventually learned. Humans were at their most dangerous when fighting to protect their homes. Admiral Ford watched the big screen on his bridge closely. The blue and red dots moving across it told the story of the battle. Of the 17 huge alien ships, 14 had been stopped completely. Their engines no longer worked. Their weapons couldn't fire correctly, and they couldn't talk to each other. The last 3 alien ships had broken away and were trying to run. "USS Constellation, this is Hornet Leader." Captain Ward's voice came through the radio. "First part of the mission is complete. Boarding teams are coming back now." Ford smiled. "Great work, Captain. Bring your people home." The 500 small human ships began to pull away from the alien vessels. The small pods carrying the boarding teams launched from the disabled alien ships, heading back to their Hornet ships. Ford looked at Commander Clark. "Tell all ships to hold position. No pursuit of the fleeing enemy vessels." Clark raised an eyebrow. "Sir, we could finish them off." Ford shook his head. "That's not our mission. We wanted to stop their attack and show them we can't be pushed around. We've done that." He looked back at the screen. Besides, we want those 3 ships to make it home. They need to tell their leaders what happened here today. The alien commander's ship was one of those that couldn't move anymore. Ford ordered his communications officer to call the alien leader. Soon, Commander Ixal's face appeared on the screen. The alien looked different now. His scales had lost some of their shine, and his 4 eyes showed something humans rarely saw. In Lorcans, defeat. Now you see, Commander Ixal, Ford said, keeping his voice calm and level. Humans don't fight like other species you've met. You thought your big ships would make it easy to beat us. But throughout human history, we've learned that sometimes the smallest creatures can deliver the worst stings. This is not how war is supposed to be fought, Ixal said, his voice shaking with anger. You fought without honor. Ford's face hardened. No, Commander. We fought to win. There's no honor in watching our colonies burn when we can stop it. Your ships are disabled, not destroyed. Most of your crews are still alive. We could have destroyed your entire fleet, but that wasn't what we wanted. What do you want? Ixal asked. Ford could see that the alien was finally starting to understand. The same thing we wanted 6 months ago. Peace. Go back to your territory. Tell your leaders that humans won't be conquered. We prefer friendship, but as you've seen today, we're very good at war when we need to be. As the call ended, Commander Clark walked up to Ford. Sir, all our small ships report that their boarding teams are safely back. We had very few people hurt. Ford nodded, watching as the 500 small ships gathered around his larger battle cruiser. The sight made him think of worker bees returning to their hive after defending it from a predator. Send a message to Earth, he ordered. Tell them Operation Hornet's Nest worked perfectly, and prepare a peace offer to send to the Lorcan homeworld. Let's see if they're ready to talk now. As the disabled alien ships floated helplessly in space, Ford thought about an old lesson from Earth's military history. Victory doesn't always come from having the biggest ships or the strongest weapons. Sometimes, it comes from a swarm of determined defenders, each one small but deadly, fighting together to protect their home. 6 hours later, Ford sat in his private cabin, writing in his personal log. The battle was over. The human fleet was heading home. Behind them, rescue ships from the Lorcan Empire were arriving to help their stranded vessels. Today we taught the Lorcan Empire an important lesson, Ford wrote. The lesson that many bullies throughout human history have learned too late. When you attack humans, when you threaten our homes, we fight back. Not always in the way you expect, but always with everything we have. He looked out his window at the stars. Somewhere out there, the leaders of the Lorcan Empire would soon be getting the news of their defeat. Would they be smart enough to choose peace? Or would they try again with even bigger ships and stronger weapons? Ford wasn't worried. If the Lorcans came back, humans would be ready. They would have new tricks, new tactics. That was the true strength of humanity. Not their technology or their numbers, but their ability to adapt to find new ways to solve problems. His computer beeped, showing a new message. It was from the President of Earth. Congratulations, Admiral, it read. Your victory today has opened a door to possible peace. The Lorcan ambassador has requested a meeting. It seems they're ready to talk after all. Ford smiled. This was even better than he had hoped for. The Hornet's Nest strategy hadn't just won a battle. It might have won the war without another shot being fired. As he prepared to sleep after the long, tense day, Ford thought about a saying his grandfather and old Marine had told him many years ago. The best weapon is one you never have to fire. Today, 500 small ships and their brave crews had fired their weapons, but perhaps they had done so for the last time in this conflict. The Lorcan Empire had learned a costly lesson today. Threatening humanity was like hitting a hornet's nest. You might think you're attacking something small and weak only to find yourself surrounded, overwhelmed, and defeated by the fury of the swarm.